I learned how to stand quietly behind powerful people long before I met her, but loving her taught me how invisible a man could become. "Stay close," she whispered as cameras flashed. "And don't say anything unless I ask." "I know," I said, adjusting my cuff. "This is your night." She smiled for the investors, not for me. Exactly. Her name carried weight. Ice Queen CEO. Billion-dollar valuations. Magazine covers. I was introduced as my name, nothing more. "This is him," she said once briefly. "My fiancé." No title. No story. Her assistant, Maya, leaned toward me and murmured, "Try not to wander. The board hates distractions." "I won't," I said. "You're doing great work, by the way." She blinked, surprised, then nodded stiffly and walked away. At the table, Richard Hale from the board studied me like an unsolved problem. "You're very quiet," he said. "I listen more than I speak," I replied. He said. "That can be dangerous." Across the table, my fiancé laughed sharply. "Trust me, Richard. He's harmless." The word hit, but I smiled. Later, when she leaned close, I asked softly, "Did you have to say that?" She didn't look at me. "Relax. They don't need to think you matter." "I matter to you," I said. She finally turned. Her eyes were cool. "At home, maybe." I swallowed and nodded. My phone buzzed. A single message. "Proud of you. Call me sometime. Aaron." I didn't reply. Dinner moved fast. Deals, praise, applause. I watched her shine, remembered nights I stayed up fixing her pitch decks, calming her doubts. When dessert arrived, Richard raised his glass. To vision, leadership, and those who carry companies on their backs. Applause followed. She stood. "Thank you. I didn't get here alone." My heart lifted. "I had support," she continued, smiling thinly. "But support is different from strength." Some people laughed. She looked straight at me. "And not everyone grows with you." Silence spread like spilled wine. I felt every eye turn. She went on, voice smooth. "Some people stay where they started. Comfortable. Safe." Richard shifted. Maya froze. I tried to speak. "You don't mean..." She cut me off. "I mean that success requires letting go of dead weight." A sharp inhale passed through the room. "Worthless," she said lightly, like a joke. "That's the risk of loving potential instead of results." Laughter followed. Polite. Uneasy. My ears rang. I stood slowly, lifting my glass. "She's right," I said. "Results matter." She looked surprised. I smiled wider. "And tonight is about hers." Applause returned. Relief washed over faces. She exhaled, leaning toward me. "Good. Don't make scenes." "I wouldn't," I said. Inside, something cracked. In the car, she scrolled her phone. "You were quiet." "I was thinking." "About what?" "About us." She sighed. "Don't start." "You called me worthless." She shrugged. "In business terms." "I'm not a business term," I said. She finally snapped. "Why are you like this?" "I carried you." "I stood beside you," I said. "There's a difference." She laughed once. "You stood in my way." The city lights blurred. At the apartment, she tossed her heels aside. "I'm exhausted." "So am I." She paused. "If you're insecure, fix it." "I don't have time to babysit." I watched her walk away. I sat alone, tie loosened, phone dark, heart hollow. I realized then I hadn't been living. I had been surviving. The apartment felt smaller after the dinner, like the walls had moved closer to listen. She dropped her bag on the counter. "Don't look at me like that." "I'm not," I said. "I'm trying to understand." "Understand what?" she snapped. "That I protected you. You humiliated me." She laughed, sharp and short. "You humiliated yourself by standing there like a prop." I leaned against the table. "You didn't have to call me worthless." "In that room," she said, pouring water, "you were." My chest tightened. "To them." Or to you? She didn't answer. Silence stretched. I said quietly, I helped you get here. She turned slowly. You helped, yes. Past tense. So now I'm just, what? I asked. She took a sip. Dead weight. The words landed heavier than the glass. I stayed, I said, when you had nothing. And now I have everything, she replied. That's growth. At my expense. She rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. The doorbell rang. Maya stepped in, holding a folder. She glanced at me, then past me. I need signatures, she said to her, not acknowledging me. Leave it, she replied. He's busy sulking. Maya smiled politely and left without another glance. I followed her with my eyes. She doesn't even see me. Why should she? My fiancé said. I don't. That hurt more than the dinner. In the hallway, the housekeeper passed me. Excuse me, she said to her. She nodded back. To me, nothing. I felt erased. Later, in the bedroom, I said, Did I ever matter? She sat on the bed, scrolling. You mattered when I needed you. And now? She looked up, annoyed. Why are you begging? I'm not, I said. I'm asking. She sighed. You were a phase. Before success. Before clarity. A mistake, I whispered. She didn't deny it. I sat on the edge of the bed. If I leave, would you care? She shrugged. I'd adapt. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I stepped into the balcony. Hello. It's Aaron, my old mentor said softly. I saw the footage. I'm fine, I said quickly. You don't sound fine. I'm just tired. You weren't always like this, he said. You used to lead. That was another life. Lives don't disappear, he replied. They wait. I closed my eyes. I can't talk now. Call me when you remember who you are, he said, and hung up. Inside, she laughed into her phone. No, he won't be a problem. My stomach dropped. I stayed still, listening. Yes, she continued. I'll remove him quietly. From everything. A pause. The board doesn't even know his name, she said. He'll sign whatever I put in front of him. My hands shook. She lowered her voice. Once the restructuring is done, he's gone. Clean. I stepped back, heart pounding. She laughed again. He won't fight. He never does. I walked into the bedroom. Who were you talking about? She looked up, calm. Work. You're planning to erase me, I said. She tilted her head. Erase is such an ugly word. What are you doing? I asked. She stood. I'm fixing a mistake. I felt something collapse inside me. I loved you, I said. She sighed, bored. Love doesn't build empires. I nodded slowly. That night, lying beside her, I stared at the ceiling. I wasn't useless, but I was being buried alive. I didn't sleep that night. I listened to her breathe beside me and wondered when loving her had turned into erasing myself. At dawn, I left the apartment without a note. Aaron answered on the second ring. You finally remembered. I never forgot, I said. I just chose silence. Where are you? He asked. In my car. Parked. Thinking. Good, he said. Thinking is how you used to win. I laughed bitterly. I don't want to win. That's what scares you, he replied. Because you could. I drove to his office. Small. Quiet. Safe. He poured coffee and studied my face. She broke you, he said. No, I answered. She reminded me. Of what? That I stepped away, I said. Not because I failed. Because I chose her. He nodded. You gave up power for love. And she turned love into leverage. I told him everything. The dinner. The word. The plan to remove me. He listened without interrupting. She thinks you're weak, he said finally. I let her, I replied. Why? Because I was tired, I said. Tired of fighting rooms full of men who wanted to own me. I wanted something real. And now, he asked. Now I'm disposable. He slid a folder across the desk. You're still on record as a silent stakeholder. I never activated it. But you can, he said. If you want. A knock interrupted us. A woman stepped in, sharp eyes, cautious posture. This is Lena, Aaron said. Corporate lawyer. Careful to a fault. She shook my hand. I've read your history. I don't have one, I said. She smiled slightly. That's the problem. You erased it too well. She opened the folder. Your fiancée has been moving assets without full disclosure. I suspected, I said. She altered contract language, Lena continued. Subtle. Dangerous. So the board doesn't know, I said. They trust her, she replied. But trust is fragile. Another knock. A tall man entered, older, familiar. You still sit like you own the place, he said. Marcus, I said quietly. My former partner smiled. You disappeared. I stepped back, I said. For her, he replied. We all guessed. Do you still trust me? I asked. He didn't hesitate. With my life. Something inside me steadied. Aaron leaned back. You can walk away. I know, I said. You can let her cut you out, Lena added. Sign, vanish, start over. And live knowing I let her bury me? I asked. Marcus crossed his arms. Or you can take control without noise. I looked at the window. I promised myself I'd never come back. Why? Aaron asked. Because power changes people, I said. I didn't want to become her. Lena spoke softly. Power doesn't change you. It reveals you. Silence followed. I thought of the way she said worthless. The way she laughed while planning my removal. I don't want revenge, I said. I don't want her to suffer. Aaron nodded. Then don't destroy her. Expose the truth, Marcus said. Control the damage, Lena added. Legally. Quietly. I exhaled. If I do this, I do it clean. Aaron smiled. That's the man I remember. I signed nothing yet. I made no calls. But when I stood to leave, my spine felt straighter. In the car, my phone buzzed. A message from her. We need to talk. Be reasonable. I stared at the screen. For the first time, I didn't rush back. I wasn't weak. I had been waiting. And now, I chose control. I let her think I was broken because it made her careless, and carelessness was louder than confidence. At breakfast, she barely looked at me. You didn't answer my message last night. I fell asleep, I said. She smirked. Figures. I stared at my plate. Silence felt safer than truth. You're not going to ask where I'm going, she added. No, I said. You're busy. She smiled, pleased. Good. You're learning. At the office, I stayed behind her like a shadow. When someone spoke to me, I redirected them. Talk to her. She makes the decisions. She knows more. She loved it. I heard her telling Maya, he's finally accepted reality. Maya nodded. That's a relief. Neither of them noticed me standing there. At night, she grew colder. You forgot to schedule my call. I'm sorry. You always are. I nodded again. Inside, I counted every insult, every careless word, every moment she underestimated me. Behind her back, I rebuilt quietly. Aaron met me in parking garages and empty cafes. They still respect you, he said. They don't know I'm here, I replied. That helps. Lena spoke in whispers. She's hiding liabilities. Not illegal yet. Just arrogant. Marcus laughed softly on the phone. She thinks the board is loyal. They're loyal to results, I said. Each small move tightened something in my chest. Power didn't feel good. It felt heavy. At home, she tossed documents at me. Sign these. What are they? I asked. Cleanup, she said. Nothing you'd understand. I skimmed slowly. Looks routine. It is, she snapped. Stop overthinking. I signed where she pointed and skipped where Lena warned me not to. She kissed my cheek. See? Easy when you don't resist. I felt sick. Some nights I stared at the ceiling and whispered, "Am I becoming her?" No one answered. At work, people stopped asking my opinion. I encouraged it. I'm just support. I'm not involved. I trust her. Every lie made the truth stronger. Then small things shifted. An investor delayed a transfer. A supplier asked questions. A board email went unanswered. She noticed the tension but blamed others. Incompetence everywhere, she said. I'm sure it'll pass, I replied. She narrowed her eyes. You sound calm. I am. She didn't hear the warning in my voice. One evening, her phone rang during dinner. She answered, smiling, then stiffened. What do you mean postponed? She asked. She listened, jaw tight. That wasn't agreed. She hung up and looked at me. Something's wrong. I met her gaze, empty and quiet. I hope it works out. She scoffed. Don't pretend you care now. I said nothing. Later, alone, she paced the living room. The board is asking questions. That's normal, I said. She stopped. Since when do you have opinions? I lowered my eyes. Sorry. She turned away, satisfied again. That night, as she slept, I checked my phone. A single message from Erin. First crack confirmed. I exhaled slowly. She thought I was broken. She didn't know I was waiting. The boardroom was colder than usual, or maybe I finally noticed how sharp power could feel. She sat at the head of the table, confident, composed, untouchable. When she saw me take a seat instead of standing behind her, her brow tightened. You're early, she said. I was invited, I replied. Murmurs followed. Richard cleared his throat. Let's begin. She smiled. Of course. The presentation started smoothly. Numbers. Growth. Promises. She spoke like a queen addressing loyal subjects. Then Lena stood. I'd like to review Clause 17, she said calmly. My fiancé turned. That's unnecessary. It's not, Richard said. Proceed. Lena projected the contract. This clause was modified without full board disclosure. Silence. She laughed lightly. That's a drafting issue. Marcus spoke next. It isn't. It redirects liabilities. She frowned. You don't understand the structure. I do, he said. I helped design it. Before you. Her eyes flicked to me. I said nothing. Richard leaned forward. Why wasn't this shared? She stiffened. Because it wasn't finalized. Lena replied, It was executed last quarter. A pause. Then whispers. She turned to me sharply. Did you know about this? I met her gaze. You said it was nothing I'd understand. Her confidence wavered. Maya shifted in her seat, avoiding her eyes. Votes were called. One by one, hands rose. Not hers. She stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. Richard spoke gently. Sit down. She didn't. I built this company, she snapped. I spoke for the first time. We built different versions of it. Every head turned. I stayed quiet, I continued. You assumed that meant weak. Her voice cracked. You betrayed me. I shook my head. You erased me. The final vote passed. Control transferred. The room exhaled. Some people wouldn't meet her eyes. Others nodded at me with regret. She sat slowly, staring at the table. Afterward, she pulled me aside. You planned this. I prevented worse, I said. You took everything. I took responsibility, I replied. Her voice dropped. I loved you. So did I said. She looked at me like I was a stranger. Maya whispered, I'm sorry, and left. Richard extended his hand. We need stability. I shook it. As I walked out, the door closed softly behind me. I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. She waited for me in the private conference room, Not sitting, not pacing, just standing there like she didn't know what to do with her body anymore. "You planned this," she said the moment I stepped inside. I closed the door. "You asked me that already." Her voice shook. "Answer me." "I didn't plan to hurt you," I said. "I planned to survive." She laughed once, empty. "So I deserved this." I took a breath. "You started it." Her eyes hardened. "By succeeding." "By erasing me," I replied. "By calling me worthless and believing it." She turned away. "You could have left." "I tried," I said. "You were already burying me." Silence pressed between us. She faced me again. "I didn't think you had it in you." "That was the problem," I said. "You stopped seeing me." Her shoulders sagged slightly. "I was under pressure." "So was I." She rubbed her temples. "Every day I was fighting. Investors. Expectations. Fear. And I was right beside you," I said. "Until you decided I was a liability." She swallowed. "I thought you were holding me back." "I was holding you up," I said quietly. Her eyes filled, not spilling, just shining. "Why didn't you say something sooner?" "I did," I replied. "You laughed." She flinched. "I loved you," she said. "I know," I answered. "You just loved power more." She reached into her pocket and placed the ring on the table. "I kept this." The sight of it tightened my chest. "You said it was temporary," she whispered. "That once things stabilized, we'd be us again." "I believed you," I said. She looked at me then, really looked, like she was finally seeing the man she'd ignored. "I'm sorry," she said. The word landed softly, dangerously. "For what?" I asked. "For making you small," she replied. "For needing you quiet." I closed my eyes for a moment. "I don't know what to do with that." "Forgive me," she said quickly. "Or hate me. Just don't leave me like this." I opened my eyes. "Like what?" "Powerless," she said. I shook my head. "That's how I lived." She stepped closer. "I was wrong." "I know." She reached for my hand, then stopped. "If I could go back." "You can't," I said. Tears finally slipped free. Not loud. Not dramatic. "I don't want the company," she said. "I don't want the title." "What do you want?" I asked. She looked down. "Mercy." The room felt too quiet. I thought of the nights I waited for her calls. The dinners I swallowed words. The moment she said worthless and smiled. "I don't hate you," I said. She nodded slowly. "That's worse." "I loved you," I continued. "But I can't save you from what you chose." She pressed her lips together. "Is this the end?" I picked up the ring, feeling its weight. "This is the truth." I placed it back on the table. "And truth doesn't negotiate." She sank into the chair, hands shaking. "Please," she said. "Not for power. For me." I stood there, heart torn open, knowing mercy didn't always mean return. And knowing whatever I chose next would change us forever. She didn't kneel on the floor. She didn't cry loudly or beg with drama. She sat across from me, shoulders rounded, voice quiet, pride finally gone. That was the kneeling no one ever saw. "I understand now," she said. "You don't need to punish me." "I'm not trying to," I replied. "I'm trying to breathe." She nodded slowly. "I used to think control meant strength." "And I thought love meant endurance," I said. We sat in silence for a moment. Not tense. Just honest. "I made you small," she said. "I see it now." "You didn't just make me small," I answered. "You made me doubt my own voice." She swallowed. "I hated that you were calm." "Why?" I asked. "Because it reminded me of what I was becoming," she said. "Cold. Loud. Alone." I leaned back. Revenge didn't fix that. She looked up. "Then why are you still here?" "Because truth matters," I said. "More than winning." The door opened quietly. Richard stepped in, hesitant. "We didn't mean to interrupt." "It's fine," I said. He looked at her, then at me. The board accepts your proposal. She nodded once, not looking proud, just tired. Maya followed him in, eyes downcast. I wanted to say, "I'm sorry." She didn't answer. Maya looked at me instead. I didn't see it. What she was doing to you. I know, I said. That's how it worked. They left us alone again. I don't recognize myself, she said softly. I didn't recognize myself either, I replied. Until I stopped pretending. She looked at the table. So what happens now? I step in, I said. The company stabilizes. Quietly. And me? She asked. I took a breath. You step away. She closed her eyes. Completely. Yes. She nodded. No argument. No anger. I won't fight you, she said. I'm tired of fighting. I studied her face. For the first time, I saw the woman before the empire. I'm not taking this to hurt you, I said. I'm taking it so no one gets erased again. She gave a sad smile. You always wanted fairness. And you always called it weakness, I replied. She didn't deny it. What about us? She asked quietly. I shook my head. Us ended when respect did. Her jaw tightened, but she accepted it. I loved you, she said. I know, I replied. That's why this hurts. She stood slowly. So this is closure. This is honesty, I said. Closure comes later. She reached into her bag and slid a folder toward me. These are my remaining shares. I looked at it, then at her. You don't have to. I do, she said. For once, I choose what's right. I nodded and pushed it back. Not today. I won't strip you. She looked surprised. I'm not cruel, I continued. I just won't stay. She exhaled shakily. Thank you. For what? I asked. For seeing me as human, she said. I stood. That's all I ever wanted from you. As I walked toward the door, she spoke again. I'm sorry I knelt too late. I paused. You didn't kneel for me. She looked up. You knelt to the truth, I said. That's enough. I left the room lighter than I entered. Not because I won. Because I finally let go. The building felt quieter once she was gone, like it was learning how to breathe again. She didn't come in today, Richard said during the morning briefing. She won't, I replied. No one asked why. Meetings changed after that. Voices softened. Arguments became discussions. Maya approached me one afternoon. You're different. How? I asked. You listen, she said. She never did. I learned what silence can do, I replied. Marcus joined later, smiling. They're following you. They're working, I said. That's enough. The press asked questions. I gave none. Her name faded from headlines slowly, not with scandal, but absence. Aaron called one evening. You okay? I'm steady, I said. That's new. I don't need to burn anything to stay warm anymore. He laughed. Good. Power suits you better without anger. At the office, I refused certain deals. Too aggressive, I said. Richard raised an eyebrow. She would have taken it. I'm not her. People adjusted. Some left. They wanted fire. Others stayed. They wanted ground. Late one night, I found her office empty, desk cleared, walls bare. I didn't feel triumph. I felt grief. Not for the empire. For the woman I once believed in. Maya stood in the doorway. Do you want this room reassigned? Leave it for now, I said. She nodded. You're fair. I'm trying to be human. She smiled softly and left. At home, the apartment felt different. Lighter. Lonelier. I cooked for myself and didn't rush. I slept without waiting for footsteps. Sometimes memories came uninvited. Her laugh. Her focus. Her hunger. I didn't hate those parts. I just stopped chasing them. One evening, Marcus asked, Do you miss her? I answered honestly. I miss who I thought she was. That's the hardest loss, he said. I didn't take the company to prove anything, I replied. Then why? He asked. So no one would ever be told they were nothing again. He nodded. That's leadership. Weeks passed. The company stabilized. My name appeared quietly on documents, not covers. I liked it that way. Aaron visited one afternoon. He looked around and said, "You could rule." "I'd rather guide," I said. He smiled. "You always were like this. You just forgot." I looked out the window. I let someone convince me strength had to be sharp. And now I know strength can be gentle, I said. He clapped my shoulder and left. One night, I found the engagement ring in a drawer. I held it, not with pain, but respect. I placed it back and closed the drawer. Some things didn't need endings. They needed rest. I took responsibility. I let go of revenge. I took back my voice. I let go of proving myself. I took my name out of the shadows. I let go of her, not because she fell, but because I rose. And for the first time, the future didn't feel like a battlefield. It felt like space. Space to live. Space to choose. Space to finally be enough. I don't stand in front of mirrors anymore, waiting for approval to appear behind my reflection. "You seem calm," Aaron said the last time we spoke. "I am," I replied. "Finally." He laughed softly. "That's how I know you're done fighting." I walk through the office now without tension in my shoulders. People greet me, not because they fear me, but because they trust me. "Morning," Maya said one day. "Good morning," I answered. No edge. No test. Just respect. Sometimes people still whisper her name. I don't stop them. "She disappeared quietly," Richard once said. "She needed peace," I replied. "And you?" he asked. I chose it. That surprised him. I used to think winning meant standing above someone else. Louder. Stronger. Untouchable. I was wrong. Winning is standing inside yourself without shaking. There are nights when memories come back. Her voice. Her ambition. The night she said worthless and believed it. I don't flinch anymore. I sit with it. I let that hurt me, I tell myself. But it didn't define me. Marcus asked once, "Do you regret not crushing her completely?" "No," I said without hesitation. "I didn't want ashes. I wanted ground." He nodded. "You changed." I remembered, I corrected. I remembered the man who chose love without losing himself. I remembered the man who stepped back, not because he was weak, but because he believed in something more human than power. I lost that man for a while. Now he's back. One evening, alone, I spoke out loud, not to anyone else, but to the silence that used to scare me. I was never worthless. The words felt solid. I didn't need her to hear them. I didn't need anyone to argue. I think that's when healing became real. Power still exists around me. Titles. Influence. Decisions that move lives and money. But they don't sit on my chest anymore. They sit in my hands, steady and deliberate. I choose carefully. I choose people who listen. I choose moments that don't require masks. Someone asked me recently, "Do you feel like you won?" I answered honestly, "No." They looked confused. "I didn't win," I said. I returned. Returned to myself. Returned to a voice I stopped using because it wasn't loud enough for the room she wanted. Returned to dignity that doesn't beg to be seen. Returned to peace that doesn't need applause. If she ever looks back, I hope she finds what she couldn't hold when we were together. But that's not my responsibility anymore. I don't hate her. I don't love her. I release her. There's a difference between letting go and giving up. I didn't give up. I chose myself. And that choice echoes quieter than revenge, but it lasts longer. I didn't destroy her world. I refused to let mine be destroyed. That's not dominance. That's survival with grace. That's growth without bitterness. That's strength that doesn't need witnesses. If you're reading this, wondering whether silence means weakness, listen to me. I was silent. And I was powerful. I was patient. And I was dangerous to lies. I was underestimated. And I survived. I didn't win by taking everything from her. I won by taking myself back. And that is the kind of victory no one can ever take from me.